I am paging Dr. Chanda.
I am the
doctor.
And I'm a licensed clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Paging Dr. Chanda podcast, all things related to the Black culture.
The doctor in front of your name.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are now tuned in to the Paging Dr. Chanda show, where we talk about all things related to faith, the culture, and mental health. Y'all, today we have an extraordinary privilege of hosting a true luminary in the world of hip hop. She's a lyrical genius, a master storyteller, and a powerful voice for societal change. Hailing from the small town of Snow Hill, North Carolina, she has risen to the heights of musical acclaim, earning Grammy Awards and the respect of legends in the industry. Her latest album, Please Don't Cry, takes us through an emotional journey and includes artists like Erykah Badu, Alex Isley, Lil Wayne, and even Felicia Rashad. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Rapsody.
That's a beautiful intro.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's literally your life. Like, this is the life that you created, a legend in your own right. So I just can't wait to get into this conversation. And I'd love for you to start with, how would you describe yourself? Like, how would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Oh, in 3 words. um, Let me see. I'm laid back. Uh, I'm a giver
Nice.
and goofy. That's my favorite one.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Listen, in today's society, we have to have those moments where we're able to be humorous, to be goofy, and to be ourselves.
Yes, that's my favorite thing.
I love it.
To not be serious.
Yeah, that's so necessary right now. Have you
Yeah.
always been that way?
Yeah, I mean, I was shy when I was younger, but
Okay.
if you knew me, I've always been, just like to have fun, cut up, goofy.
Wait, you said you
Yeah.
were shy when you were younger?
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, when I started rapping, when I first started, I didn't tell my family. So the first show that they came to, they were so surprised because they were like, "Who is this child?"
Wow.
Yo, so everybody's like, "Oh, you got your Sasha Fierce
I
on." Like,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah, I was shy
Oh my
when I,
goodness.
when I was young.
That's
I didn't talk.
amazing. You said you didn't
hmm
talk.
No, if I didn't know you, I was, yeah.
That is so interesting. So the same for my family. So I didn't talk at all. And so when I got into this industry and, like, talking to people and talking on stages or whatever, they're like, "Wait, Chanda talks? Like, when did this happen?"
You know, I like to think that we were just very deep observers.
That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very
But when we have something to say, we got something to say.
exactly. Exactly. Listen, and that's why we do what we do, because when we do have something to
Yes.
say, it creates change. It evokes emotion. It evokes people to be
On.
engaged. So
Yes. Those things.
yes.
Yes.
So I'm a true fan of hip hop, and I'm a true fan of yours, because when I listen to hip hop, when I listen to music, I'm a huge fan of lyricism. Like, you have to be a lyricist in order to have my ear, and you definitely
Oh,
have that.
thank you. We the same person then.
Oh, period. No, but
That's how I was in the music that I love. Like,
yes,
I need those lyrics. I need you to like make me. What did he say? Like,
right,
how many meanings does that have?
right.
Like, that was beautiful to me.
Yeah, like, if I can just listen to it and not there's no intellect that goes into it, like, I'm not interested. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's a true gift to be able to do that. Have you always been like a lyricist, like someone who's well in tune with words, a wordsmith, if you will?
Yeah, I think so. As far as like I recognize that it was a gift in me.
Okay.
I tell everybody like the first thing my mom and dad did for us was they got us a library card. So I grew up in the library, just loving words, and then I got introduced to hip hop,
Yeah.
and that just blew my mind. I started writing poetry when I was in middle school because like those are like very formative ages,
Mhm.
and you know expressing yourself like in our household was like do what I say.
Yes.
So that was where I got to go like just vent and talk about how I felt and love
Yeah.
life and how I process things. And then I got into Deaf Poetry Jam and the spoken word part of it.
Dope.
I was always like putting it to beats was always, it just always drew me, like
Yeah.
the stories that it told. I remember hearing Lost Boys Renee.
Okay. Okay.
Such a touching, moving
For
story.
sure.
Like, I don't know, that, yeah, words, they just always attracted me.
Yeah.
The doctor in front of your name. The doctor in front of your name.
So when you find yourself listening to music, who are some of your favorite artists who are like true lyricists?
Um, like, where do I start? Um, Lauryn Hill
Of
is my
course.
all-time
Yeah.
favorite. Jay-Z, Erica
Mhm.
Badu, um, Nas, Biggie, Common, Talib Kweli, um, Jean Grey, is amazing. Who, Lil Wayne,
For sure.
Alien.
Yes. For sure.
Oh, Jay Electronica, he is like
Yeah.
one of my favorite
Yeah.
poets. Like, his writing is just, it is special in the way he
Yeah.
writes. Um, Let me think. Andre 3000, that
Another
Life of the
good one.
Party
Yeah.
verse. I mean, he has many, many, many classic verses. But I'm also like, I'm like a big R&B soul girl.
Mhm. So we really the
So
same girl then. We really
yeah,
the same
yeah.
person.
They be like, you might be more R&B than hip hop. I was like, I don't
I
know,
can hear
but
it.
they just pretty. Yeah, like, I grew up, like, Michael Jackson was like my first musical love, like so many of us.
Yeah.
And like the range that he wrote about love, but he wrote about the world, and he wrote
Yeah.
about nature, and it was just like, I always thought it was beautiful. Whoever wrote it, whether he did it or somebody else, but no, his performance of it was amazing.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So you've been making some like amazing, some huge strides in the music industry. And you were talking about how at one point you were considering leaving music. Can you
Mhm.
tell us more about that? What was going on through your mind at the time and how did you work through it?
Yeah, it was just a thought.
Mhm.
Like, I was at a point in my life where, I like to call it like stuck in the matrix.
Yeah.
And, I was trying to validate my worth or place in, the music business by accolades or how much attention I had,
Mhm.
or, it was like all these check marks that I felt like you had to have to be deemed worthy or
Yeah.
successful, or, that, like you mattered, like people cared. And I had to realize, like, those are all just false
Mhm.
measurements. You have to define what that is for yourself. And then, it was that, it was ageism,
Okay.
you know. That's a really big thing in hip hop, where it's this idea of it's a young man's sport, young woman's sport.
Yeah.
And it started out like that. It's a young genre, but it's 50 years old now.
Mhm.
And it's not a young person's genre anymore. It's just about giving everybody space to share their story and their art.
Mhm.
And so I think the narrative of that has to change, um, because you can still have the new element, but it's so important to have the element of different stages of life.
Right.
This is inspiring people. This is
Yeah.
educating people. This is
Absolutely.
speaking to people. It's healing the people. You know, what are we supposed to do? Like, hit a certain age and just go listen to gospel
Yeah.
only?
Yeah.
you know, like, so it was those things. But I just really had to unplug from that mindset and understand that, you validate yourself,
Mhm.
and the people that your music inspired stay and validate you. Like, what's your purpose? I had to ask myself, what's your purpose again? Why do you do this?
Yeah.
You didn't get paid, but you still do it, and the answer is always yes. So why not?
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Listen, I as someone who sometimes like struggle with that a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Accomplishing something, then like, okay, what's the next thing? Okay, what's the next accomplishment? What's the next goal? So how do you kind of like not allow yourself to get back into that? Like what are some things that you do?
I just think, like, the awareness and clarity that I have now,
Yeah.
it's always the people, you know, uh, the music you make and I put out in the world, and just the reaction from people, and what the music does. Those are the things that like I hold on to.
Mm.
Everything else is like the blessing,
Yeah.
you know. And I think I'm just so more aware of the music business and how it works. Like once you free yourself, and you know you get to see with new eyes, you see things in a totally different way.
Mm.
And once you have that type of clarity and that type of vision, you don't go back.
For sure. For
You
sure.
know, it's you see through. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Like you have this idea of what Oz is and the wizard, and you pull back the curtain and you like, oh, you just Richard
Right.
Pryor. You know,
Right. Right. For sure.
that's how I look at all the metrics and
Yeah.
everything else. Okay, I see it for
Yeah.
what it is,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
And that's okay. That sounds like the power of acceptance, like kind of accepting where we are, accepting we can still have goals, and also acknowledging and accepting where we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Yeah. I feel like you being my therapist right now. You got you reflecting on some things. Okay. I love that you
Girl,
brought up. I know. I love that you brought up like the ageism of it all, and thinking about hip hop. It's a beautiful thing, but it definitely has like a lot of isms, including ageism, sexism, colorism. All these isms that are compacted into hip hop, and I'm wondering, as a Black woman, how do you find yourself navigating that and able to be yourself?
um, it all starts with that self, right,
Yeah.
and how you view yourself. I've learned like you're not gonna change everybody. You inspire people, but I live in truth,
Yeah.
and I can observe things, and I don't have to take on that energy, right? Because I'm so secure in who I
Hmm.
am. So the fact that when it comes to colorism, I don't need the world to tell me I'm beautiful.
Mm.
I don't need the world to tell me black and brown is beautiful in this kind of complexion. And I don't need to put down my sisters who are of a lighter complexion to validate myself,
Yeah.
right? So, it's like I see it and I observe it and I understand what it is, but I don't have to take on the emotion of it. And it's kind of like, how do you advocate for yourself and other sisters in the community and the culture just by showing up,
Hmm.
continuing to show up.
Yeah.
The same with sexism, like advocate for myself. I speak up for myself. I don't let people label me. I don't let people define my greatness by my gender. And the same thing with ageism. We don't quit just because we reach a certain
Yeah.
age. To be at this season of life and still put out a project and have it resonate the way it does
Yeah.
speaks to that, why it's so important to be faithful, you know.
That's good.
And faith has a lot to do with it. Um, but that's just me, like I just understand with so much clarity
Yeah.
what this is.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever felt the pressure regarding like the patriarchy in hip hop to have a different look? Like has that ever been something that ever came to mind to you?
No, when I when I when I first started rapping, and this before I got into the business, like this is when I first met Ninth Wonder, and I was just looking to sign to an indie label. I was looking for a manager, and this is the only experience that I had. I was so new though. It was like
Mm.
2007, maybe 8. Um, and I had on my work clothes from Foot Action, and I was having a meeting with him. And I walked in, and before he said hello or anything, he looked me up and down. He was like, "Yeah, we could do something with you, put you on some skirt and the heels." And
Wow.
then he's like, "Cute." And I'm just like, "Nah." And I left,
Yeah.
right? I haven't had that though. Like, the beautiful thing, I can say the men that have been in my life in this business, and in my earlier stages, it was a lot more men than it was women,
Mm.
mostly. They always protected me,
I love
and
that.
they ever asked me or wanted me to be anything other than who I was. And they prepared me for so much. And, you know, I had gurus and Knife sat me down before I ever put out music and said, define your line. who are you and what are the things that you know you will not compromise when you enter this business. And they
That's
made
good.
me understand what that was before they ever let me put out any piece of music.
Wow.
You know, I mentally go there. So I had a great start. And that's not to say that, like, throughout my career, we haven't been frustrated with the business of things and how to cut through. And, there were conversations that, Knife would have with me with, like, and it was based on, like, convos from women sometimes, or on the way that I dressed or the way that I rapped. And, he would be like, yo, what do you think about trying sundresses and wedge heels?
Mhm.
And, like, if you go on my Getty images, which I wish they could delete, um, you know, sundress, wedge heels, these big flower hats. And it's just like, that was never me,
Wow.
ever. But, like, we were just so in our minds about
Yeah.
it. And again, I didn't have the clarity and awareness or the self love and
Hmm.
self care that I have now. So, but, I had those things where it's like not necessarily compromising, but at the same time, like, just overthinking it
Yeah. Yeah.
and just being okay with, this is who I am. You like it, you don't. It's okay.
Right. I
Yeah.
think you're speaking to something that so many women, especially like Black women, we can relate to, because we do often feel pressure to have a certain look, to show up a certain way, whether it's in the workplace or if we are on a stage. And so I think the message of accepting who you are and having that clarity is so profound. Um, would you mind walking us through the journey of creating your album? Please Don't Cry.
Oh, what a journey.
Yes, and it's
A
you can
long
tell it's
journey.
amazing.
Yes, 4.5 year journey. And it started at the very beginning of the pandemic. I was on tour for Eve, and I didn't get to do my last show, but we went into the pandemic, I think maybe like lockdown, maybe 3 or 4 days after that.
Mm,
And, being an artist, like, people tell you, you're always on the
yeah,
go. Like, I know I was always on the go, whether it be interviews or, tour. It was just, so when I sat down, the world turned down and everything internal turned up. And
mm,
I really had to sit with myself. And I was already kind of somewhat on this journey, but, with close friends on, like, raising my consciousness and, learning to love yourself. But it wasn't clicking as
okay,
fast, right? But I had these little tools. But when you're by yourself and you don't have anybody else to lean on, you know, and I was going through a breakup, so I was just already emotional.
mm,
Um, and it was just so much emotion that I was holding. And then in trying to heal from the relationship, it's really about you and not the other person, you find out. You start asking yourself these questions like, why do I feel like that? And those questions lead to other questions. And it's like an onion. You have to peel back, peel back, peel back, peel
that's
back.
good.
And so it first started off with a lot of solitude, a lot of releasing. A lot of it was in the music. A lot of it was by myself crying. I was sitting and reading books and YouTubes. There was no TV on. Like, I just was really sitting in my own fire and
Mm,
allowing myself to burn, right? And looking in the mirror and holding myself accountable for some things. But I put it all in the music. That was my therapy. I've never been to a therapist, but I was practicing therapy
yeah,
in a way. And, that first year was just me in the studio, writing, recording, getting it out, crying through some of it. But that was over and over. That first weekend I started recording in March. I did 12 songs in 2 days.
what?
Yeah, and that's kind of what that first year looked like. And then the second year, um, I went to see S1 in Dallas. And, I was a little bit farther in my healing, right?
Mhm.
It was like, all right, you can't just sit in a room and soak in your tears all day. But, then it was like, okay, I'm at a better place where, I could be around people and really just grow and focus on me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, I got away from the hope of, like, we gonna get back together. So you gotta face it.
mhm,
Um, and I was using things to help me, like, on Pinterest. I was reading poems that could speak for me in ways that I couldn't speak for myself, and being inspired by words and pictures, and creating music with the producers from pictures, and things like that. But honestly, it was just like really a musical documentation of everything that I was feeling and going through and learning in 4 years.
Yeah.
Got the doctor in front of your name. Got the doctor in front of your name.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
you found healing in hip hop. It sounds like the healing nature of music and writing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like I had my sisterhood. Like I had my girlfriends that if I needed to, I could call and vent, or they would just put up a mirror for me sometimes when I didn't even
hmm,
ask, or just give me like markers along my healing journey. And they really help guide me. Like Raina Biddy, she's a poet, but also one of my good friends. She's super in tune with the infinite.
I love that.
She's got that gift, but she would always pour into me, and just randomly just send me things or ask me questions, just check up on how you doing, how's the music coming, and everything I was feeling was in the music. So if I sent her the music, she knew exactly what it
Yeah,
was. Just really like being open to allowing people to tell you exactly the truth of who you are.
that's good.
Like,
And being
yeah,
accepting of that too. That yeah.
accept that you have to be kind to yourself in the process.
Yeah.
That's like Misa Hilton told me that you have to be kind to yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Like, but you can hold yourself accountable, but yeah, you
I'm
know,
here for that.
atone for those things and let it go.
Yeah.
Badu sent me flowers last week for the album, and I opened the card and it only had two words. It said "Let go," and it's just a beautiful reminder of
Yeah.
what I've been doing for 4 years, and part of the conversation that we have when we have our sit down. Like those are the things. It's that simple, but you have to do the work. Let go.
That's so powerful. That's
Yeah.
powerful. What would you
Yeah.
say is what's one thing you want people to take away from the album?
That it's okay to be human.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that's the
I'm
foundation of
here
it.
for it.
Like we all are living life, and life is not perfect and it's not supposed to be. Especially in this day of social media, everybody's, you know, showing you all the good things, and we're using filters to cover up all the things that we don't like about
Yep.
ourselves, because we're comparing ourselves to these airbrushed images, and you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and this society's idea of what's deemed beautiful and
Mhm.
what's deemed successful, and it's none of it's real. None of
Yeah.
it. Like, we're on your phone all day and I look, but when I'm out in the world, I see real people.
Mhm.
I see people going through real things.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Like, allow yourself to be human. Accept yourself. Like, love yourself. Have faith. Like, unplug from the matrix of it all. This shit is all an
Yeah.
illusion. You have to create your own reality.
I'm here for it. Listen, I am in love with this album. I know many things are going to come out of it. Many great things are going to come out of it. Yeah, of course, of course. I'm definitely praying for you and on your journey, so that many people's lives will be touched as a result of this album. And I'm wondering, how can we stay connected with you and the things that you're doing?
Oh, I'm doing everything. I feel like
That's
it's
good.
beautiful. Yeah, like I'm grateful. I like to be tired. Um, my website has almost everything, www.iamrapsody.com.
Awesome.
And Rhapsody does not have an H in it, so Rapsody, iamrapsody.com. And I'm big on Instagram. Like, that's my favorite app right now, other than Pinterest. So at rhapsody.com. But yeah,
Awesome. So what's the
not .com. I'm sorry, at Rhapsody. That's it.
the people knew. The people know. Awesome. Well, Rhapsody, I definitely appreciate your time today. It was a pleasure getting to know you, sis, and getting into your head and figuring out what came out of your journey and how you developed this album. Definitely appreciate you. So make sure that y'all tune in next week. Any final statements?
Oh man, always live in the light, guys.
Yes. Y'all heard it here from Rhapsody, live in the light. And don't forget, y'all, you have the power to create the emotions that you want to experience. God bless.
The doctor in front of your name.